the worst. And the first couple on this list aren't like so egregiously terrible. I was just disappointed they weren't as good. I mean, I didn't see a lot of the bad movies because I try not to see bad movies in general, but I did see some of these. So I have The Muppets Most Wanted. I was disappointed in this movie. I feel like the Muppets are best when they're treated just like any other characters, and that's what makes them funny, is you're interacting with a pig. And this movie, I felt like there was too much sort of winking at the camera. I didn't think the jokes were that funny. I didn't think the sort of the caper element. Maybe it's just I don't think that Muppets work that well with capers, because I think The Great Muppet Caper is also a really weak Muppets entry. And it was just disappointing because I really liked the 2011 one. I thought that was so much fun. And I felt like they were sort of winking. There's some definite fourth wall camera jokes in that one. But for the most part, they treated it like, this is my brother. And I think that kind of works the best with the Muppets. I love the Muppets. So my favorite Muppets are The Christmas Carol and The Treasure Island. So I really like it when they take books. Those are my favorite. But I guess I know it's unpopular opinion, but I'm not a huge fan of Tina Fey in the movies. I have only liked Mean Girls. That's the only one of her movies that I cared for. So take that for what you will. Then I have Godzilla as another one that wasn't terrible, but it disappointed me. You only see Godzilla for like 45 minutes of the movie, and Bryan Cranston isn't in it for that much, and so the trailers were kind of deceiving, and I just don't understand why they made that artistic choice of including Godzilla for such a little part of the movie. That was very strange, and I just didn't think it was very exciting. I thought it was kind of boring. So it's not terrible, but I just didn't, it was disappointing. Then the next disappointment I have is The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And Amazing Spider-Man 2, part of the reason why it's on this list is because the trailers really were a mess. They showed so much of the movie before you even got a chance to see the movie. And if you're somebody like me who's really sort of in on the the YouTube scene, then you see these kind of things. You see the trailers, you see the clips, and I was skeptical going into it just from what I'd seen, but I thought it was too cluttered. There were too many villains. The villains that they had weren't that good. I thought the chemistry between Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield was really good. But other than that, I really didn't love the movie. I thought it was kind of boring and just sort of, I mean, a superhero movie, you have to have a good villain, and I didn't think any of them were good. And I think maybe one of them could have been good if they just had one. But, like, Dane DeHaan, I think, could have been interesting, but it was just too much. So that was a big disappointment. Okay, I guess I have three that were disappointments. Then the ones that I didn't like, flat out didn't like, we've got on my worst list. Let's start with The Ride Along. This was such a stupid movie. I really do not like Kevin Hart. I think he's very shrill and obnoxious, and I just don't think he's funny. I'm sorry. And I didn't think this was funny. I thought this was super generic. It reminded me of the kind of movie that if, like, on The Simpsons, they were making fun of buddy cop movies, this is the kind of movie that they would make. In fact, they kind of made the movie with Cop Out, with Bruce Willis and Tracy Morgan, not that long ago. So this was just a really, really lazy effort. I didn't think it was funny at all. Next, another lame comedy was The Other Woman. And it really annoys me when movies put themselves as some kind of feminist mantra, when in reality it's every cliche and trope of female characters. And it was just shrill and nothing was funny. And you have Leslie Mann and Cameron Diaz who've been really funny in the past, and they get nothing. Just nothing. It was a very frustrating experience at the movies. Next, I have The Nut Job. The Nut Job sucked. The Nut Job is one of the worst animated comedies I've ever seen. It was so bad. It looked terrible. There's a character that looks like they tried to copy Ratatouille, which is just insulting because that movie's a masterpiece and this is just a joke. The vocal performances are fine, but the story is just bad and it's boring, and it's awkward and the jokes don't work, and it's just bad. It's a really terrible movie. Next, I have Transformers: Age of Extinction. I did watch this movie for you guys. I've seen all 4 of them. What are you doing? Watch the original cartoon. The cartoon feature-length film from the 80s. That's great. It's really good. It's almost messianic in feel, like, believe it or not. And these are just so bad. They're so insulting. The women are so terrible. It was so long. There's so many explosions. I mean, they make good actors look terrible. I thought Mark Wahlberg, I mean, definitely better than Shia LaBeouf, but I thought he looked terrible. I thought that Stanley Tucci looked terrible. Kelsey Grammer. I mean, just good actors that it's just so bad. And it's just so unending. And it's so... I mean, I guess it would be okay in like a 5-minute amusement park ride. But it just at a certain point after... It might have even been okay if it had been like an hour and a half, maybe. But when you're getting on 3 hours, close to 3 hours, you just want to just, ugh. And so I just hate Michael Bay movies, and I did not watch the Ninja Turtles movie because I just was like, okay, I watched the Transformers movie. I'm not, those look so terrible, and they just are not the Turtles that I know from my youth. And I just couldn't do it. I'm sorry. So that would probably be on this list as well, if I had seen it, I think. Okay, next on the list I have Tammy, which makes me really sad because I love Melissa McCarthy. I think she's so great. I like Mike and Molly. I just think she's awesome. I loved her in Gilmore Girls all those years. She's so funny, and I like that she's a different kind of character, different kind of actress in Hollywood. She's doing something different. But man, this was so bad. This was so embarrassing. I didn't think any of the jokes worked. I thought the performances, the makeup was really terrible. Susan Sarandon did not look like her grandmother. That was weird. And I don't know, I just didn't think it was funny. You know? That's a comedy's job, is to make me laugh. And Tammy did not make me laugh. I was really just cringing the whole time. Okay, then we have Legends of Oz, Dorothy's Return. This is one of the worst animated films I've ever seen in my life. It looks terrible. It looks like, honestly, I think if I gave $2,000 to the local community college animation classes, I think they could come up with something that looked better than this movie. It's just almost painful to look at. I thought the story was awful. I thought the songs were awful. I thought, you know, I mean, when you put Oz on that title, you were saying this is, you are putting in the league of one of the best movies ever made. And so, don't put Oz on that title if it's crap. And this was crap. I mean, this made Oz the Great and Powerful with the James Franco. It made that look great. This was so bad. I mean, Martin Short is the only thing that's a little bit redeeming. Like I said, it just looks awful. It's not funny. The songs are terrible. It's it's boring. It's really, really shrill and just, it's just awful. I couldn't believe it. I was stunned. Then my final one for the worst movie of the year for me was Maleficent. And I know a lot of people love it. That's awesome. Good for you. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. But I hated it. I thought it was awful. I thought, how can you take one of the great Disney villains of all time, take a movie that they spent 10 years making, and an artistic masterpiece, and you go and you literally frame it in certain scenes, shot by shot, but you change it completely around. You change the fairies so that they're idiots. Literally, the king calls the fairies the idiot. And the whole idea is you're going to make Maleficent a real person, right? You're going to make her a full, so she's not just the villain. So she's got all these, you're seeing her from her perspective, right? But you haven't done that. All you've done is flip it the other way around. Instead of her being the villain, you've made her the hero. And how is that any more realistic or correct? All you've done is you said, we're going to make Stefan the villain, and make him the all bad guy, and we're gonna make Maleficent the good guy. And it was so maddening. I mean, just things like the blessings at the beginning, which is such a great scene in the original, that, you know, where you get Flora that gives her the gift of beauty, and you get Fauna that gives her the gift of music. And here you had, and then Merryweather tempering the gift, that the curse. You have Merryweather tempering the curse that Maleficent has just given. And it's such a powerful scene. Well, in this, you have Flora giving her the gift of beauty, and you have Merryweather giving the gift of not being blue, which I don't know why you would do that. Why would you not want her to be singing? Like, you have a great song. Why would you change that? It makes no sense to me. And then they have Maleficent cursing Aurora, her biggest, she's trying to get back at her biggest enemy, the person who has taken her wings. And you have her cursing him through the daughter that she will sleep until true love's kiss. That sounds like a blessing to me. That doesn't sound like a curse. That's ridiculous. I mean, the idea, what kind of curse is this? What kind of person is this that gives that kind of curse? It's ridiculous. And so Maleficent, Merryweather is supposed to temper that curse, but instead she just gives no blessing at all. It's just, or Fauna is given no blessing. Which was bizarre to me. I like, what? And it just made me so angry. And then they have instantly, like in the movie, in the original movie, it takes 16 years for them hunting her down till they can finally find where she's hiding. Well, in this, she literally is watching them as they come up to the house. And then she is Aurora's fairy godmother. I mean, how negligent are these fairies that 3 people, that's their only job, is to watch out for Aurora? That 3 people could never, ever, ever realize that Maleficent is that active in this girl's life? They're that negligent? They're that ridiculous? Like, that's crazy. And then there's a scene where as Aurora, as a baby, is about to fall off a cliff. I mean, then the fairies are like sitting right there, which is just absurd. It made me so angry. And then Philip, who is a awesome prince in the original, and he's super tough, and he's my favorite prince of all the Disney princes. And here he's just like neutered, he's nothing, and so that they can have Maleficent give the true love's kiss. That was so outrageous to me. I couldn't believe it. And, you know, in the original, like, Maleficent has horns. She's the she-devil. She is evil. To me, it's as outrageous as if somebody went into the Harry Potter movies and all of a sudden Voldemort was really the good guy, and how everybody else that it was really Dumbledore. He's the real villain. That's basically what they did to the Sleeping Beauty story, and it ticked me off, and I couldn't believe it, and I thought it looked terrible. I thought the acting was awful. I thought Jolie was okay, but I thought it looked like she was wearing a costume. That did not feel like her horns. That did not feel like her body. And, you know, you have a character named Maleficent. She's named Maleficent. She's supposed to be evil. I just couldn't believe that they could do what they did. It made me so angry. I can't believe that it made so much money. I'm so upset. And I don't know why people keep seeing these terrible movies that are these fairy tale retellings is beyond me. I thought that Alice in Wonderland, the Tim Burton, was awful. I thought that Little Red Riding Hood and Oz the Great and Powerful, and I'm trying to think what else. Just all these fairy tale retellings have been so bad, but yet they keep making tons of money, so we're going to keep getting them whether we like it or not. So I have a little bit more hope for Cinderella, because I feel like Cinderella has been done so many times, and I have a whole section on the defense of Cinderella, so I feel like I'm more open. But I'm telling you, if they turn the mice into some kind of Alvin and the Chipmunks monstrosity, I will be so angry. There will be no end to my wrath. Like, what are you doing, Disney? Like, have some respect for the artistry and the vision and the decade of work and success that people went in to make these masterpieces, and show some respect for it. Don't just be doing the cash grab, because it's just really, really unfortunate. So anyway, that's my little vent session about Maleficent. I hated it. I thought it was terrible. So anyway, that's my worst of the 10. That's my 10 worst movies of 2014. I wouldn't recommend any of them. And my best, though, definitely go check those out. I thought they were just great. So I hope you're all having a great day, and I'm sure there'll be lots of controversy about the things I said, so put comments down below, let me know, and I hope you're all having a great day, and please subscribe to my channel. Thanks.